Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Challengers Chatroom, your one-stop shop for all things SGC. My name is Sam Smax Hyde, and I've got with me Matt Cubby Samuelson, and also Niles 1v9, the top laner for Maryville University. How are you two gentlemen doing this fine evening?
Doing great. Yeah, it's good to have you on, Niles. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. It is a great evening. We've got a lot to go over tonight with you gentlemen, and I'm excited to be getting into that. Of course, we are going to be going over the past week in SGC. We're going to be talking a lot about Maryville and your experience with them as a player, your results recently, and looking forward as well. And near the end of the broadcast, we are as well going to be touching on a few roster changes as well that you may or may not have heard about. So I'm pretty excited to be getting into that. But let's get into just the last week in SGC, Cubby.
Yeah, so this past week, starting off with Cup, we had 4 series that went as expected for the majority of them, right? So we had
no upsets.
4-Ace over Simplicity 2-1. That was hands down the closest series. It was kind of a fiesta. Then we had really clean series coming out from both Anu and 100 Thieves Next, who went off against, I know 100 Thieves Next played Dark Matter, I believe Anu played Dark Matter, 100 Thieves Next took down Mirage.
Yep.
And then the last series was Frostfire with actually a clean 2-0 over LBGN as well. And Niles, I know that you're actually set up to go up against Frostfire over there in the Risen Finals. I'm not sure if you've scouted them out at all or think that like they're a threat, but at least in Cup, we're kind of positioning them to be a possible dark horse. Yeah. Is that a team that like you're somewhat like you have a lot of respect for, or like you don't think they're as strong as others may think? Because they've done really well in a few of the earlier leagues, or they got knocked out of a few of the earlier leagues, but now they're starting to like really find their form and do well lately here in SGC.
Yeah, I think that no one really talks about Frostfire because they aren't playing in all the leagues. I think that especially their top laner, Quas, like obviously Quas is a beast. Like that guy played pro and he was a beast in pro, and no one really talks about just how good he is. But I think any top laner that plays versus him in SGC will see that like he's definitely like one of the best tops you can face. And I think he's definitely the strong point of their team. So I wouldn't be surprised if they took the whole Challengers Uprising League, and they're definitely going to be a threat in the recent finals. So a lot of respect for them for sure.
Yeah, I definitely do as well. He's got a very specialized champion pool as well. We've been seeing a few of his Alawi games. I know Cubby's been really excited about the Alawi, and then it finally came true, and he's like, yes.
Every time in solo queue, I see an Alawi, it's a dodge every single time. I don't care. I will not. You can't pay me to play versus that champion. So it's super annoying.
I ban that champion if I get filled top every time.
Yeah, it's Darius.
I don't care if it's meta. I don't care if it's meta at all. Alawi's not available for it.
Did you see he had a 1v4 on Alawi?
Yeah.
I did not see it, but I'm sure they picked like 3 or 4 melees, right? Yep. And then they just ran into him. Yeah, it was with Alawi.
It was Ornn Voldebear topside with like a blitzcrank, and they got tentacle smashed.
Yeah, melees versus Alawi, it's just straight up unplayable. So I think that's actually a champion that I'm like, dang, every time I see it pop off versus melees, I'm like, dang, like I really should play this champion. But it's a really strong champion. It just depends on the niche situation for it, right?
Yeah.
If you can't get in range of anyone, then it feels like terrible, because you're just like a Darius without Ghost. So you just watch people.
Ghost.
And I know that
like you run Ghost, but
and like your guys' Ornn counter has been the Kale, right? Which it's a lot easier to fit that into compositions. The Alawi, like that thing smashes instantly. So I don't know, maybe you want to pick it up. You can go watch some Quas or maybe some Ixu VODs over there.
Some Dirty Mobs. Dirty Mobs is pretty good too.
Yeah. It's honestly the most impressive champion in the game. And it's funny because like with so many champs in the game, a lot of them kind of go forgotten, I feel like. And some it's for good reason. But with Alawi, like whenever I see her picked in a situation against like 3 melees, it's like, why don't more people prep this pocket pick? Because she is insane. And like maybe that's something like you can shed light on, like as a player, like prepping pocket picks. Like is that something that you think it's like worth putting a lot of time into, or would you rather kind of put time into knowing like, hey, I can play these meta picks that like can fit multiple roles, it does really good for our team in draft and fit a lot of comps?
I think that most players will have a niche answer to meta picks, It just depends on what your niche answer is, right? So some people, for example, play Kale into Ornn, right, which is a niche answer, but other people like to play Alawi into Ornn, right? So I think most teams have answers and players like to have answers. It comes down to like player preference on which specific champion you want to be your answer. You know what I mean? Like you can't learn all of them. As long as you have a specific answer into the meta picks, then there's a wide range of champions that you can learn. Like obviously Sam Brahman Darius, he plays Darius into tanks. You know what I mean? So it just depends on the player. Yeah, I think there's too many to learn, but it's really good to have those pocket picks.
Like if you take Kale into Ornn, then you really like scaling. If you take Alawi into Ornn, then you're a sadist.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on your personality and everything.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And it says a little bit of something about Quest. But yeah, you guys are playing up against them in Risen, which is very exciting. That's going to be on Sunday. And yeah, how do you kind of feel your performance has been in Risen? Because I know us over at Cup, we were talking about earlier about how like the best of 2 format kind of messed you guys up a little bit. Yeah. Take us through like your difference in performance across the leagues, because it has varied quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that our team definitely has hot streaks and cold streaks. I think recently we've been playing pretty well. Unfortunately, the weeks before we weren't playing all that well. Risen is definitely a league, especially that we've done really well in. We didn't drop any matches in the regular season, and have only dropped 2 in our best of series and the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely stepping it up recently. But before that, in our other leagues, like especially Challengers Uprising and a little bit in Upsurge, we just didn't. We weren't playing well at the right times. Which when you have such a long summer where there are so many weeks, there are going to be times where you just don't play as well as you're used to. You know what I mean? So like, it's just natural. I think everyone's excited to be nearing towards the end where as long as you make it in the top 8, anything can happen, right? So we're just looking forward to that and trying to lead the other tournaments in the past. So
especially as a team that was in all of them. So
yeah,
that's got to be a weight off your shoulders for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that like we've talked to obviously other coaches and players on here about I think we've had 2 Radiance members on here, and they were another team that competed in all 6 leagues. Obviously it's a bummer to get knocked out, but do you think that actually kind of helped your team and your play? Because like you had more time to focus and practice and instead of just constantly competing?
Yeah, so it's actually really funny because we would actually when we entered in all the leagues, right? We initially thought, okay, we'll use some of the leagues as kind of like practice to try new picks. Yeah. And it feels bad to do that and then feel like you got eliminated because you were trying something new. You know what I mean? So like now that we're using the days that we don't have the other tournaments to scrim, we have a lot more things prepared, and we definitely feel a lot more comfortable. If someone says like, "Oh, let's bring out this pick," we've usually practiced it now instead of just like first timing and be like, "Yeah, let's see what happens." It's definitely it's not all bad because like I said, as long as you get in the top 8. What happens before doesn't matter as much. Obviously, you want decent seating. Yes. But at the end of the day, that's the thing that matters. So definitely a blessing and a curse.
No, I remember like because when I was like writing up that like big tier list I did, I talked to Colomer like a week before.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, like if we win game 1, like in one of those leagues, game 2 is pretty much like we treat it as a scrim. And the reason that we competed in all 6 is because we're going to get better scrims playing in a competitive league with those teams than we usually will when teams like are always trying new stuff, right? Like we're expecting they're going to prep stuff against us.
Right.
And so, it was interesting. It's like, it was way too many games, like having 6 leagues and 7 competitive days. That's not fair to you guys, especially like no one competing in 6 leagues. So like, I respected him for saying that. And I always like kind of cut you guys some slack when you ended up dropping those random games. Cause I'm like, all right, like you play in all 6 leagues, right? You have to practice at some point to get better.
I think another thing is that since the other teams that you would want to scrim are also playing the leagues, that's another thing to consider, right? So it's not like okay, I can scrim or I can play in matches versus the same opponent. No, it's either you play versus one of the top 8 teams or like top what were the groups? It was 8 and 8, right? So top 16 teams in Scouting Grounds, or you scrim versus a team that isn't there, right? So it makes a lot more sense to enter into the league and play versus one of those teams than scrim versus a team that isn't really competitive.
Yeah, especially in a world where like it's not like collegiate teams are going on like right now because COVID kind of killed all that off. So like a lot of those teams aren't formed. It's the summer too. And then I know talking with a few other players that they've seen a lot less academy scrims than usual this time around. I don't know if that's the same for you guys or if you can talk about that, but I know that a lot of teams like have lacked those scrims this time, and that's important scrim time, right? Because you're right. It's either you play against the top 8 of SGC if you're in the shoes that you are, or you don't. Like you're playing against like some randoms, right? From queue.
I think that's a weird thing that other people said as well. Yeah, last summer, especially when at Maryville we were preparing for the International College Cup, right? Mm-hmm. We were getting to scrim academy teams, but we haven't been able to scrim any of them as of recently. So I didn't know if that was just our thing, but yeah, it's surprising that other people have said that. So it just adds to the point of entering the leagues, and it's good to play even if you don't win every single league, right? So yeah.
I mean, there's some level like iron sharpens iron, and if the other iron is playing in the league, then you should probably be in the league. But
iron sharpens iron unless they're iron, right? So like, you know what I mean?
If they're iron and you're playing like ranked 5s or something, which is coming back tomorrow, by the way.
Is it actually?
Yeah. So they're removing the
ranked,
they're removing the ranked cap or whatever. Like
dynamic cues.
Challenger can play with iron now in Flex, which is
in Flex. Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay.
They're just changing. Flex.
Well, you were about to have a meltdown if it wasn't just in Flex.
Yeah. I was like, what? Yeah, So Loki's dynamic cue.
It's not so Loki. It's not so
okay.
Oh god, dynamic cue.
Hey man, dynamic cues back, baby. Let's go.
Oh please.
I remember the winter that came out. We combined scrim because everyone was on winter break, and our one player was like out, and so I just sat in, and we went 33-2 in dynamic queue. Like,
wow,
just murdered everyone. Like,
that's LP inflator right there.
Yeah, it was like I was getting hard.
It's gonna be in Flex queue. You don't have to worry too much about it.
Yeah, but that was like we were like playing like Challenger MMR, and the 2 games we lost was because like our mid laner dared to defy DC'd. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. You probably remember Zach.
I do.
He was really good. Yeah. So. Yeah, but dynamic cues back for all the plebs out there, or if you just want to play Clash when it's not Clash Day, who knows?
I'm excited for that because
of course you are.
Humble brag, I'm like pretty high in Flex queue, and all my friends. Because I used it as a practice way because in the end of the season I hit D1 on Flex queue. Mm-hmm. I know I'm a god amongst men, so. Yeah, I'm pretty excited because whenever I place in Flex now, I just instantly get Diamond, and then I can't play with anyone. And who wants to play Flex by yourself?
Exactly, right.
I'm really excited about that.
All right, so get back to Niles here as the Flex Q rants. You mentioned like traveling internationally, right? And I think a lot of people that follow the scene know this, but if you don't, you guys won CLOL and actually went to China to compete against teams that were the best collegiate teams from other countries, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I was just kind of curious, like, what was that sort of experience for you over there, like when you went overseas?
Yeah, so we've competed. I've personally competed in 3 international tournaments, all in China. And every single time you get a little bit more experience, and it lets you come back with a lot more perspective on how it feels to play like under pressure. Yeah. So I think that every single experience you get a little bit less nervous, and you bring that back with you a lot. So like whenever you're playing in like an SGC match, I think all that experience has definitely let me play a little bit less with nerves every single time. So I think it's mostly it's not as much for the practice because you can't scrim a ton when you're over there. You play a little bit versus other teams, but you don't get as much practice. It's more just like being under pressure that really helps you with. And me and Wolfie are the 2 Maryville players that are still coming back from the Chinese tournaments, all the ones that we've been to.
Right.
But yeah, so it's definitely helped.
Yeah. Was there like anything that were you guys like able to like travel over there at all, or like do any sightseeing, or like, is there any like food that you had that you like wish was like in America, stuff like that? No, actually when we went to Hong Kong last summer, and we got to see so many different like they had like esports arenas and
these giant malls. So we actually got to see a lot of different sites while we were over there. So it was really awesome. But nothing in particular with the food. The food's kind of weird. Had some like chicken feet and stuff. So that was like it's very bony. Like you spit out the bones. I don't know. The diet over there is a little bit different, but it was beautiful for sure. But
that's cool. That's a heck of a like collegiate experience too. Being able to get that with your guys' program. I mean, obviously you guys have been dominating C-Law for the last 2 years. This year would have been maybe 3, but Harrisburg had a better lineup this year. So you guys might have had some close matches, but obviously you guys still would have been the favorites. So it's cool that like you're able to like get that out of going to college.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of Maryville players, you guys recently took a very, very close L to a couple of them that used to be there against Supernova. That was a sick series.
It was really good. It's really fun to watch.
But you guys did get second place there. How did that series feel? Because it was very, very fun to watch as a spectator for sure.
Yeah, I think that Supernova is a really good team, and a lot of the games that people play with them or or against them, either one team stomps or the other stomps. So I think it was really sad that in game 5 it was one of the stompy games, because when we won the third game, it was just as one-sided, So it really sucks that we had to end on the 5th game being like that. I was really hoping it would be a long game that's really competitive, but Supernova is definitely a really good team, and like if they get their early snowball off, they're really good at just snowballing their lead. So they're definitely. That's another one of the teams where I'm sad to see that they got eliminated like us from like cup early. You know what I mean? Because they've been ramping up a lot ever since Clyde came in. I feel like every single week they look better and better. So they're definitely a really strong team, and it didn't feel we were playing some Maryville guys, like you said. So it's always fun to play against just your friends, because the whole time you're all chatting and just talking to each other. You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
It's a ton of fun playing against a friend. So I enjoyed all the series. I think that we lost one best of 5 in winners bracket, and then lost the finals, and then we beat them and eliminated them from Risen.
Yeah.
So we just been some competitive series. It's been good. Yeah.
It's been fun to watch them play so well with Clyde, because I mean Clyde is like the collegiate OG, right? Because like he's RMU, he's Maryville, and he's very good support player. And I remember him like talking some smack. Like, I guess there are a lot of teams that didn't pick him up, and now he's coming back and kind of beat them all. So your boy's getting a little bit of a revenge tour.
Yeah.
On Twitch chat, you see him, and he's like, "Oh, this team didn't accept me on their team. I tried out, and they didn't let me. Glad to see them lose." Great, Clyde.
Yeah. There's definitely a little assault there, but I mean, I understand that. I understand that feeling.
It drives him.
For sure.
A lot better.
Whatever works.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking about like obviously Supernova has had some success, but also you guys have really been kind of hitting your stride, as you mentioned earlier, right? Whether that's better pick bans or just better team play, you guys have been doing very well now that you guys have. Unfortunately, we're knocked out of a couple of leagues, but now you're doing really well in the ones that you're still in. What do you kind of feel like has been the driving force behind that? And is that something where it's like more of like you 5 as players are coming together, or do you feel like Zoo and Colomer have had a big impact on that too, like with just working you guys as a squad?
I think it's a combination. So I think the most important thing, for example, when we reverse swept Radiance, I think that as weird as it sounds, like the vibes were like the biggest thing that changed in that series. Like the first 2 games we put way too much pressure on ourselves, and going to the 3rd game, I was like, guys, like we're just playing League, you know what I mean? Like just don't think about it too much. If you have an instinct that something is good or bad, just trust it. Don't think about it too much. And that's when we really started to turn the series around, where we played more we're just like, guys, we're just playing League. Like, don't think about it so much and put so much pressure on yourself. And I think that mindset change has helped us a lot, because going into SGC, you have all these expectations on yourself, and especially, and everyone else has expectations of you as well, where they see you coming in and they expect you to do well, and when you don't perform that well, it feels bad, right? But once we started realizing that, at the end of the day, the only people that like we should really care about is like our teammates, and like as long as we enjoy playing together as a team, then don't worry about any external pressures or anything like that. That's the mindset that we've taken recently, and it's helped us so much.
Pep talks are broken. You should nerf those.
Oh, for sure. You're down 2-0 in a series, and you get the right words are said. It definitely
that's funny. So like, I guess brief story time, but like when we were founding our program at Miami, we actually met with Snoopy, like from CLG EU. Yeah.
That's cool.
So we like flew him out for like MOG Columbus, and we had like a 4-hour meeting with him talking about like how to build our program.
Yeah.
I got like the one fan question in, which was, if you go way back, you'll remember that CLG EU, they were up 2-0 on a Zubu Frost in OGN summer of 2012. And so my one fan question was like what happened in that series, right? Because like they collapsed. And it's funny, he's like, yeah, like we went up 2-0 and we got cocky, and that just like our game plan like just fell apart from that. And it's funny, like, yeah, well, it's funny like hearing like mindset, because I've had this conversation a lot with players. Like mindset's so important in League, and like how you like approach the game and go into it. So it's just like funny like seeing like parallels between like you guys reverse sweeping, them like almost winning as a Western team on like the biggest stage in Korea, and how like the only thing that like he remembered was like, oh, we just got cocky. It was like nothing about like strategy or like in the game. It's like our mindset was off. It's like really funny. It's like hear that. It's like memories.
And that goes all the way down from like, in that example, the top league in the world, all the way down to solo queue. It's really insane, actually. Like whenever you feel, I've talked to a lot of other people about this, and they usually agree with me. Where like usually going into a game, if you feel like you're going to do well, you're going to do well. So like the mentality that you take when you're approaching everything in League is super important, because it affects your decision making, and just like League is a lot about decision making, right? So the mentality that you have affects that a ton. So just having a good mentality is one of the most important things, no doubt.
It's a lot of parallels to like traditional support, like sports, and like I come from golf. Like, you know, before you hit a shot, you want to have like a clear mind. You like want to have a game plan and like commit to it. Like it's very similar for League too. Like when you like go to execute plays, like if you have second thoughts, that play is going to fail, right? Like no second thoughts going in. You have to like be fully committed. If it works, it does. If not, it doesn't. That's a lot of similarities, which are it's funny like to hear you talk about mindset and how you guys bounce back from that reverse sweep. I guess going back to collegiate, obviously you're in a very different spot compared to I think every other team here in SGC, right? Where you guys get full rides to play League of Legends collegiately, and not only that, but your organization probably operates the closest to like something that an academy team would operate to, right? The fact that you guys have backing like Zoo, like Column, or like Quirky. What's it like kind of being a part of that? And like how much impact like do you feel from like the staff that surrounds your team of 5 players?
So Maryville is definitely the top esports program in the country. Just because the support structure that we have there is totally insane. Clerky has helped me, and just through the 2 years I've been here, he has set everyone up for success in the program. Just huge shout out to Clerky. He changed my life by bringing me to Maryville. But yeah, the support structure that we have at Maryville is definitely the best in the country. I can't see anyone rivaling it, and obviously it's really different being a student and also competing. So having to balance all that, especially when you're a gamer, like like a lot of people that are like it's just like when you're a gamer, you want to just play games all day, and you know what I mean. So like they definitely help you just like stop being such a degenerate, and become like a better person, even, you know what I mean? Like
maybe I need to go to Mary.
No. Like it's. I hope it makes sense what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure the exact words for it, but the support structure is really insane, and So I hope that answers the question.
No, it does, and like this is something like, I mean, we set up our program like first off, we don't have scholarship money at Miami, but also like we set out to be the best like varsity program in terms of education, like where we can land you in the industry, because like we knew that we couldn't compete with you guys, right? Like we were fortunate enough to like have people like Hatham and good people like come through like that made our team pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was all about like education, because you guys knocked the competitive aspect out of the park, because it's you guys treat it like a pro team, right? And then I got to travel to, it was before you were there, but it was like the Midwest Conference Clash. And I talked
Midwest
like,
Campus Clash.
That's it. Thank you. And I talked with like, I didn't talk with Corky, but I talked with Cat God a lot, who still works with you guys, obviously. And I have a ton of respect for CKG.
Yes.
And like just the fact like how you guys run things over there, it's pretty much a pro Oregon collegiate, right? And it's really cool to see you guys popping off and, you know, having all your success, because I think a lot of people kind of underestimate like how many cooks like, or like how many people it takes to like make the village good, right? And you guys have kind of mastered that over there.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely something that has to be taken very seriously, because it kind of is an experiment in a way, where other schools are looking at us when they hear about us. They are wondering if they should do the same at their school, you know? So I think it's really like we definitely have the mindset of like trying to set an example in terms of how seriously we take things, because collegiate esports is such a new scene, right? It's been going back a little bit in League, but in League, they never really had programs. They just had like the leagues that you compete in, because you just so happen to all go to the same school. Whereas now it's developing to, I'm going to go to this school because of the league team, you know? So there's more and more schools like that every single year. So we definitely try and take it as seriously as possible and set an example for especially the bigger schools.
Yes, and it's really tough to get through the red tape. Like we can't do everything that you guys do, but it's great to see like what a program could be, you know, like if you do everything right and put all the time and resources into it, because you guys have, I mean, you're the only collegiate team that's competing in SGC. I mean, I think that says a lot to like your guys' play and how talented you guys are as a squad and what you guys do in collegiate. And if you haven't seen C-Law besides the top 8, then you're missing out on Maryville pretty much pub stomping everyone else. In the north, it's impossible to get through the north with you guys.
And I also think that I would like to say that there are a lot of collegiate players that are playing on a lot of different teams in SGC.
Oh yeah, like Frostfire has 2 people from Columbia, and they have Harrisburg, Heike Savage, and Kitsuo was on a team as well.
I'm not sure about Kitsuo, but I think a lot of people sleep on the collegiate scene. Because there are a lot of really talented players that that do compete in the collegiate scene. You know, a lot of people think it's academy, then amateur, then collegiate, but I think every year collegiate becomes like more and more the top of amateur, and are able to compete with the top of amateur. So,
a lot of people forget that like those lines got blurred like all the way at the start too, because I think JJ, Engo, and then Airy or whatever 80 carry. They went straight to FlyQuest Academy from Toronto, and Adrian was from RMU. Like a lot of people get pulled up.
Obviously Shady, you know.
Shady,
and
I mean, I can't touch too much on a collegiate. That's definitely
sorry. This is kind of like my neck of the woods here. But
no, absolutely. I'm having a great time listening to you guys.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. We brought you on here to make it about you. So absolutely. Sure. I'm just the random host memer guy. So but yeah, I thought it was really interesting, because I live in Michigan, so I'm like right next to Michigan State, and when I was first hearing about like C-Law and all this stuff, I was talking to a few of my friends who go to Michigan State. I was like, yeah, so you guys like have a league team, right? And he was like, oh yeah, we have a league team. I was like, how are they doing? He's like, they're like really bad, man. You do not.
I don't know what year it was. They're pretty good.
No,
last year they were
like
all right.
It was like 202017. So
okay, they were not great.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh. No,
really really funny thing. Actually, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Value actually used to go to Michigan University.
Oh, yes. Cool.
Yeah. So he transferred from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mid laner Julius, not
Yes.
jungle Julius.
Yes, mid laner Julius.
Yes,
Yes. That's a big difference.
Yeah, there is. For
Yeah,
sure.
there's a really big difference. Yeah. Shout out to Julius. He's a great guy and did a lot for that program actually over there in Michigan. Yeah. Anyway, like getting back kind of like you were talking about like the lines being blurred between CLOL and also like amateur and SGC. What's the difference for you when it comes to like competing in something like CLOL compared to competing in SGC and like all these tournaments and going up against all these teams?
Well, I think that obviously the competition in the competition in amateur, there are a lot more teams you have to think about in terms of challenging you. Because in collegiate, usually every year there are one or two teams that are competing for the number one spot, whereas in amateur, so many teams are super close and anyone can beat anyone. So I think it's a lot more exciting in amateur than it is in collegiate, where all the top teams take games off each other. You see a new beating 100 Thieves consistently over the past week, you know what I mean? And really giving them a run for their money. Whereas, a few weeks ago, 100 Thieves was undoubtedly the best team and, no one could really touch them. We came close in one of our series, but they were obviously the best team, but the amateur league is just much more exciting than collegiate, I would say. That's a big difference.
You can feel different teams ramping up as well. Like getting to the end of the season. Like this might be a hot take, but I think that Radiance in their current form is top 3 because they look really, really solid. I know you guys
Maryville just reverse swept though.
Yeah, you have had really, really good results. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're top 4. Maryville's taken that spot instead, but. I've been very, very impressed with how they've been able to ramp up and everything.
Yeah,
I know you must have been paying attention to that because you did play them like 4 times in a row.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think what you're saying is completely spot on. You see it week to week. Teams are ramping up. Some teams are doing worse, right? Like Mirage, for example, was doing really well towards the beginning of SGC, right? Towards the beginning and the middle. But now you see that they're more on the downward trajectory, right?
Yeah.
So comparing that to collegiate again, it's like usually the top teams stay the top teams, whereas in the most recent circuits, there's upsets, and week by week you see teams slowly getting better, which I think it's really good to see.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch.
I mean, collegiate, like the talent pool just like isn't there, right? Because in collegiate you play with the hand you're dealt with, whereas in SGC
most of the time,
the exceptions are like you, Harrisburg,
Columbia.
UCI.
That's
about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if the guys that go to your school are like 3 masters mid laners, and you're like, well, I guess one of you is on support. One of you is top lane.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I'm at AD.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
But yeah, and also like just the way it's scheduled, right? Because like they split up the regions. Like you play 6 regular season matches Swiss style, and so like you don't get a good match until like you're 4-0, and then you either like in the North. It was like before the it was Big Ten era. So it was literally like, all right, we really hope that we don't draw Maryville or Columbia when we're 4-0. So we can draw them when we're 5-0 and at least try and get second seed, though I get on the opposite side of the bracket from them. Yeah. It was like just really janky. Like,
for sure. Yeah. Every week matters in amateur, right? Whereas in collegiate, you're kind of snoozing for the first
3 good matches a year, unless you go to top 8.
Right. Exactly.
It's literally it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that's another big difference.
Yep. Would you take 3 good matches or 500 plus good matches?
Oh, yeah, obviously, what kind of question is that, guys? Let's be honest. Every week mattering is definitely more exciting, and you want it a lot more. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, on CLOL Saturday mornings, I'm rolling out of bed at like 30 minutes before a match. I'm like, it's fine. We're playing versus Pratt Community College. You know what I mean? Like,
they're top winners, flat 3. And it's the player on their team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, their support is Smax? I think we're
yeah. So for sure.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So moving on to one league we haven't touched on a little bit is LWL. So we went over a few of these. Of course, LWL I think is the only one left that's still in regular season.
There is no playoffs.
Oh, right. I'm just crazy. But
it's such a weird league.
It is a weird league. It is really, really weird. Yeah.
But anyway, you guys are slotted to take third in that league if there are no like upsets or anything. So yeah, how are you feeling in that league? Because I know you mentioned before how like you guys have had like a little bit of shaky weeks here and there, but on paper you guys have only lost to 100 and a new, and that's expected of everyone really. So yeah, how are you feeling about LWL? I believe you guys have a matchup tonight there as well.
Yeah, so we have a matchup tonight playing versus Simplicity. If we win it, we are guaranteed third place. We'll hold the head-to-head to anyone that could tie us. And then next week, actually, even if we lose tonight, if we win next week, we'll again be guaranteed third because Simplicity wouldn't be able to reach us.
Right.
So definitely feeling really good about LWL. Obviously, LWL is the most important league in terms of prizing and circuit points. I think it's something crazy like fourth place gets as much as winning like Focus or Risen. Like,
yep,
it's like
a lot.
It's a nuts amount, right? And then first place, go on.
16th place has points.
So, there you go. And there's what, 18 teams, right?
16, yeah.
There are 16.
There's 16 teams.
Yeah, you get points for qualifying.
It's crazy, right? So we're definitely happy to be doing well on that. And I think we should be somewhere in terms of somewhere between like 3 and 5 in terms of seeding, depending on how the other leagues go. You know what I mean? If the same team wins consistently, then we'll be higher because other teams won't be getting as many points. But yeah, just looking forward. Doing well on LWL is definitely good. Obviously,
it's just kind of important.
Yeah,
but right. Yeah, that league is like that league's super weird, and it's been rough because like as like someone that needs to follow SGC, like as a color commentator, they don't have a broadcast, right? Like the game that like we're broadcasting tonight is through your guys' stream, like, and so it's a bummer to see no broadcast for they have 5 times as many points as everyone else. Like I want to see what's going on.
I think that is really strange. I think FaceIt did a pretty poor job last year as well, honestly, when it was directly them, because honestly, like sometimes we're talking to the admins at FaceIt and they don't even know that there's a chat in the game, like in the game client. Like we're talking to admins about League and they're like, have you tried messaging them on Discord? We're like, well, we're talking to them in the League client right now, guys. Like, so like it's really weird. And also like there's a weird thing where like if you're the higher seed, then you always play on blue side first. It's like, well, if I'm the higher seed, why can't I just choose my side the first game? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like you don't get advantages for being the higher seed, which just doesn't make any sense. And the Swiss format is also strange. I don't like Swiss format, honestly.
Do you like it better than best of 2?
I do like it better than best of 2. I'm glad you asked, actually. Swiss format, I like it better than best of 2. But I don't like the fact there's not a playoffs as well.
Yeah.
Just because
it's really weird.
Because like you just see it across all leagues, like when the matches matter a lot, and we're talking about people's like potential like professional careers, right? Then best of 5s is just the best way to do it. Yeah. When it's an elimination match.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's how they do it. Like gauntlet run, like the gauntlet.
Exactly.
Should be best of 5s for you guys when it hits that top 8 and.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what kind of damage that you guys do. But speaking of top 8, and we have a little bit of time left, but before we let you go and prep for your match tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern over on Maryville GG, I believe is the Twitch channel.
Yep, Maryville GG.
Where Cubby is play-by-play casting.
Yeah, you actually don't want to tune into that. Last time I did that, it was 2 years ago. I casted with Returns, and it was a Maryville Miami match where we did game off you. And Niles actually remembers that, which I was very surprised about. Yeah. Yep. That was very funny.
Do you remember Cubby's casting?
No, I hope not.
I remember watching after we won. So
I had the solo cast game 1, and then Return came in and saved my voice. So anyway, that said, Smax, I believe we have some breaking news that most people in this chat probably know about, but is breaking for and has major implications on SGC.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it a little bit more later, but for now we're gonna touch on it and just say that 100 Next roster is going to be a little bit different moving forward. And with that being said, we're gonna ask you, Niles, what are your thoughts about the trajectory of that team, and also just specifically the cup bracket that is remaining, because they are playing against Polar Ace in the semis tomorrow, and then the next day we've got Anu versus Frostfire, and that's rounding down in the next week or so.
Just to clarify for everyone in the chat, 100 Thieves next. The deadline for Academy, their roster locks, it is today.
Yep.
And on the UPL roster sheet, they have a new top and jungler. So their top lane is actually going to be the coach Fallen Bandit. And the jungler is going to be NX
Bandit.
Fossil Bandit. Yeah, that's just for draft though. But yeah, he's going to be stepping in. And so Tenacity and Kenvi, we didn't have time to prep like any graduation graphics for them, but they've graduated to Academy at least. So high school graduation. Poom got like college graduation, but they're at least like high school graduation, taking those steps.
It's funny because they haven't yet.
I mean, like, congrats to them. Niles, we were talking a little bit about like how good we think these guys are, and like that they're very deserving of taking those next steps. But for you guys in SGC, this actually kind of opens the door to a lot of teams. The fact that roster is going to change significantly.
Yeah, looking into their match versus Polar Race, I think a lot of people, if they didn't have these roster changes, would think it'd just be a total wash, and I would think the same way. Yeah, exactly right.
Polar Race has a roster change as well that you might know
They
too.
do.
Oh, it's for the jungle, right?
Yes.
Can you remind me who their new jungler is?
It is not Pie Swag, but it's actually going to be the jungler of Harrisburg University, Jacob. I don't know what his IGN is.
Chan.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. 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 I heard there was a change. But I didn't know that it was actually Chan. That's good. I think it's an upgrade actually for them. Because I played with Jacob at the TSM Scouting Grounds, and played against him during the Harrisburg tournament, stuff like that. I think he's a really great jungler actually. I'm surprised that he actually wasn't on a team at the beginning. So I think that actually that series could be close now that I'm hearing that. Just because you don't know what to expect from 100 Thieves when you change two positions, especially two positions that you would say they play around heavily, and those are probably their two strongest players, at least in my opinion, on the team. Maybe that's
I think it looked really good, which definitely helps. Yeah. But I would agree as well.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think that the Polar Race and 100 Thieves series at this point, it's a toss-up because there's just so much unknown in that. Yeah. And then in the Anu versus Frostfire, I think that the way that Anu plays the game is actually pretty good versus Frostfire, because they actually both use their mid lane to move around the map. The difference is where they use their mid priority to move after they play the 2v2. So Frostfire actually usually shifts up to top side and helps Squash out, whereas Anu usually shifts on the bot side and plays through Shoryu and Winter. So I think that there's a big difference in terms of like how they transfer their mid pro, but they both play through mid. But I think that it's way easier, especially in this meta. Like if you get an Aphelios ahead, right, and you dive bot, and you are going to be able to control the game so much better than if you go through top and maybe you dive the GP or the Kennen, right? That Rodob's usually on, or the Ornn, you know what I mean? So I think that Anu is favored because they both play similarly, but I think Anu plays the superior way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I think Fire does a really good job, especially on the roaming mids. Like his TF is nuts,
dude. If he gets TF, the game's over.
Oh yeah, no, his TF's really, really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I think that's less of a toss up. I think Frostfire. If Frostfire won, I wouldn't be super surprised. But I do think it's pretty Anu favored, and I think Frostfire would definitely take a game or two. But I think Anu will win. So those are my predictions.
Okay. Niles, do you have any last words before we let you go? Anything like that? Obviously, before we let you go, tune in tonight, Maryville GG, for a very good series. For Maryville, you guys, it's an important one for LWL going up against Simplicity, securing that third seed. Obviously, it'd be huge for points. But any like final words, any thank yous, any sponsors you guys have over at Maryville, anything like that?
Just thanks for having me on, and I enjoyed talking about everything. And once again, Maryville GG tonight. We're gonna be playing LWL match, and just thanks for having me on once again.
Hey, dude, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure to talk with you about like collegiate and your guys' team, and best of luck moving forward. So I know that you guys are out of cup, but we're rooting for you to do well in the other leagues and hopefully well in the top 8 too.
Cool. All right, see you guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we just heard from literally Captain America. So that's pretty sick.
Literally Captain America.
Yeah. Big fan of Captain America for sure.
We didn't
Fun
fit
fact,
any of those memes in. We
no, we
probably
didn't.
should work. That's your job, Smax. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's true. I'll give you one right now. Fun fact about me and Cassidy: our first date was at a Captain America movie in the
Wow,
theater.
just the first meme is just the rub the wife buff right in my face. All right. All right, good job. Well done, Smax.
But anyway, yeah, let's dive a little bit deeper into this 100 Thieves roster change. So yeah, they're now missing out on Kenvi and Tenacity, two players who you and I definitely consider to be the top of their class, top of their game in SGC. Not surprising at all that they are making it into Academy.
Not surprising at all. I mean, I talked to someone over at 100 Thieves, and they think that Kenvi is just an insane prospect. And
Oh yeah.
I think looking at what you have like from that player, and how good and how dominant he's been in SGC, it's no surprise that he's moving up, right?
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
that one everyone saw coming. The one that I'm more surprised on is actually Tenacity, because Tenacity, like we've all seen his mechanical prowess and how dominant he is on champions, but and it's been good to see him pick up more champs like Set and Ornn, but he was very much lacking with some of those picks and looks significantly weaker when he's on picks like Ornn, and Malachi most likely, because he's said, like, I don't believe in playing these champs. And honestly, if you're going to climb solo queue and you're as talented as that guy is, I wouldn't believe in that either. But I'm looking forward to see what they do at the next level, because this is what SGC should be about, right? It's moving guys up, like helping build these players up, like get teams to realize, like, hey man, like, Five Fire doesn't take up an import slot, or Busio 16, or Niles literally has won international tournaments, for collegiate, and this guy's rolls collegiate every single year. And now look at him compete in SGC too.
Yeah.
I mean, watching these guys like climb, it's a real pleasure. And selfishly, I'm bummed I don't get to cast them again, because Kenvi was insane, Tenacity was insane, but also like it makes SGC way more interesting moving forward, because
it kind of does.
100 Thieves next and a new, like that best of 5 over in Big, that was the best series I've seen so far in SGC. That was so close. I thought both teams played really well. It just went over to 100 Thieves next on that day. We're not going to get to see that matchup again. And all of a sudden, like, it puts Anu in the spot where Anu is the team that's in the next level, right? And who's going to step up to challenge them? Is it going to be Radiance? Is it going to be Maryville? Is it going to be this new 100 Thieves next roster? Like, we're just going to have to see. But things are a lot less clear cut.
It really is. Like, as much as it makes our jobs harder because we have to analyze a day 100 Thieves next game tomorrow, which is going to be really fun, by the way. Be sure to tune in.
No idea what Fallen Bandit looked like at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know.
What NX, I just know NX.
We're gonna have to go back to like 2018 and watch some of.
We also have to like edit our bits that we were prepping for tomorrow's broadcast too, because we shot those and we were like, oh god, like wait, Kenvi and Tenacity are moving up. So, yeah.
Speaking of bits, again, not the most difficult thing to predict in the entire world, but I am going to gloat a little bit because I did have that conspiracy theory bit where I said that Kenvi would be bumped up to Academy, and it happened right away. It happened like
and the Ornn burgers, the McChickens going over to tonight. He's been getting more of those McChickens, man.
Playing a lot of Ornn, which might be one of the reasons why to bring him up.
I went in his stream and I asked him, was like, Tenacity, like, how'd you feel when you got Ornn game 5? And he's like, I asked for it. I was like, really? He's like, whoa. I was like, and I like looked back and I was like, wait, yeah, Ornn's like super smurf here. Like it was the right pick, and so it's good to see him, playing for the squad. For 100 Thieves fans asking in the chat as well, the top lane, and it's back. Look at producer Lauren. Producer Lauren helping us out here.
There it is. Oh man, I'm so glad that's making a return.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex Battery for that one, by the way. We worked on that one together. So he gets the credit for being a prophet.
So for 100 Thieves Academy fans, Fake God and Meteos were the top jungle. They could still be on the roster. I'm not sure. We just know that Tenacity and Kenvi are not on the 100 Thieves next roster. And the vast assumption is they are moving up, because Kenvi is, for me, the number one prospect in SGC. I say that out of only respect for every other player in SGC, but that's just how good this guy is, right?
Yeah, Tenacity.
Tenacity for me is also up there, possibly number 2, kind of tied with Five Fire for me. that guy's
Shout out
insane.
shout out to an interview, or not an interview, an article that we released today, I believe, where they
Yes.
broke that down. It was from Challengers
With
Uprising.
some help from Cat Coach and Data, which
Yeah,
very much
yeah.
appreciate,
Shout out to Weizhou and Data for that one. But
yeah.
they had Kenvi at number 1, and they had Tenacity, I think, at number 3 behind Five Fire.
Yeah.
Can't blame them for that one.
You can flip those and make the argument for me. But it's great to see these guys make the jump, and I wish them luck as Tenacity's angry that we're leaking. Sorry you guys changed the UPL sheet. So
yeah, no,
we found this one out early. But yeah, I mean, congrats to both players moving up, and we'll see what 100 Thieves next looks like, because I mean, I think Copy, Jan, and Otto are outstanding players in their own right too. And it's a great chance for them to step up. Like we always kind of joke about Copy, you know, like he's overshadowed on the team by some people and things like that. But now we get to really see, you know, can Copy shine through, be that big carry, you know, be the player that we all know that he can be. I mean, this guy was number 2 on the ladder himself. So we're going to have to see how this roster looks, and it opens things up for SGC. I mean, like I said, I'm bummed I can't cast that same squad again. They're so dominant. They're really, really good team, like better than I think some of the academy teams we have. But this is what tier 3 should be for, right? Promoting players. And so it's great to see them move up as well. And we're going to be rooting for them all the way too.
And, you know, nothing has been officially released on other stuff either, but
it hasn't been officially announced, but like it's pretty clear.
It's pretty set in stone for 100 at least, but there's
clear enough for us to be doing this.
Other players are as well, you know, because the roster lock is today for academy. So you never know. There might be
heard rumors of one more player that is moving up in SGC, but it's not concrete enough for me to reveal yet.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't even know. So
yes,
we got some spicy stuff. Maybe harass Cubby in his Discord DMs, and you might be able to get it out of him. But but anyway, yeah, I'm really excited for these matchups tomorrow in Challengers Uprising, and also specifically, apart from Challengers Uprising, the UPL match between 100 and Radiance, that kind of got blown up wide open today, Cubby. So
yes,
we could be seeing Radiance in that finals up against Anu, which would be crazy.
It would be. I know that Radiance has only played Anu once, because we talked to Avi and he's like, I really want to crack with this team. We also talked to Avi and he's like, I really want to crack at 100 Thieves next soon. So maybe he knew then, but yeah, I mean, it might be an interesting match. And like I said, I don't know anything about NXI. I don't know the form that Fallen Bandits in, as Chrono just doxed my Discord. So that's cool. Slide into my DMs. Me and Kenvi currently is chilling from our 50th floor Rocket Mortgage Mansion Tenacity, as he's just chilling. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to see what they look like. Fallen Bandit was a good player in his own right. We're going to have to see what kind of game he shows, but it means a lot for SGC. It opens things up. And like I said, I'm bummed that I don't get to see this 100 Thieves Next roster finish out the season, because I think they were the favorites. That best of 5 against Anu was dynamite. But also, this is what tier 3 should be for. And other franchises should take notes, right? 100 Thieves, they got first crack at 5 prospects. They got to mold them, and they're moving them up. I mean, Poom's on the LCS roster. These 2 guys are moving up to Academy and still developing. It's great to see these guys succeeding. And I want to see other franchise teams do the same and actually put time into scouting talent, because it really seems like it's paying off for 100 Thieves here. And from the play that I've seen from these 2 players, I want to see them play at the next level, because I think that that's where they really deserve to be. And I'm interested to see what kind of game they are able to, you know, bring out and put into the table. So it should be fun.
Yep. I'm so proud. We're making content about these guys, and they're bumping up and all this stuff. You know, I'm sure G-Bay's proud too if he knows as well. Shout out to G-Bay 99. Those 2 5-star prospects being bumped up. But anyway, apart from that, we do have the rest of SUC to look forward to as well. We got some banger matches coming up. Like I mentioned before, tonight there is that matchup for Maryville against Simplicity on their own personal stream. That one's going to be a good one to watch. We also have the UPL playoffs continuing tonight, 100X versus Radiance. And then tomorrow and the next day are going to be Challengers Uprising semis. So you're not going to want to miss those. And then on this Sunday, of course, they do have some reschedules, but that'll be the last week, like Niles mentioned, of LWL. So really everything's coming to a close by this time next week, or at least by Wednesday of next week. It all might be over and just be waiting for the main Scouting Grounds bracket, Cubby.
God bless you. My Discord messages are blowing up right now.
Really? Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
Appreciate that one, Chrono. Well, the last one I have, it's not concrete enough for me to share on air, but I have an inkling of the last Academy thing that could pop up here, so we're gonna have to see.
Cubby, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good fun. That's fine. I'm gonna get Chrono back when I spend my 10K points in the final to spam ping the commissioner. So it's gonna be fun.
True. Very true.
Yeah, it's gonna be all good. So anyway, that said, yeah, I mean, it makes SGC really interesting, and we're gonna have to see like if other teams can step up, because Smax, you referenced Radiance, they're looking better. We have a Maryville that's kind of returning the form, because I had them as the second best team. We have a new who's really peaking right now, and so we'll have to see who can step up and who can kind of take the throne, because I have to feel like it's kind of in a new's hands right now.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. As long as we don't see any roster shakeups on their side, I imagine it's going to be definitely their league from here on out. Especially like I still have a lot of respect for the rest of the 100 next players, but switching up the two players and this time is definitely gonna be a good sign for a new. So that being said, I'm really excited for the rest of these games. We're gonna see you all next week as well. I believe that might be our last episode of this season too. So definitely not want to miss that one. Cubby, do you have any final words for us on this episode of Challengers Chatroom?
No. I mean, like I said, I'm bummed that I can't cast any more Tenacity or Kenvi games, but congrats to them for moving up.
Hoping in their streams.
I apologize I kind of apologize for any leaks, but also I don't, because we're gonna find out here in an hour. But I mean, stay tuned for whatever 100 Thieves, their formal announcement, whatever they have prepped, and hopefully they have some awesome clips of Tenacity and Kenvi, because these guys have been just a clip city montage coming in for SGC, and we're gonna have to see what they can do in the next level. And good to see Tier 3 Amateur kind of doing its job and getting the right people promoted, because those are two prospects that we all looked at. We're like, yeah, these guys are gonna move up and hopefully find some great success up there too.
And it's going to shake up our fantasy drafts tomorrow on air for the semifinals as well. But that's going to happen tomorrow. For tonight, I have been Smax. He has been Cubby. And thank you for tuning in to Challengers Chat Room. We'll see y'all next week.